Hello guys, let me show you how to make this cool VS.
Okay, let me explain. Over the last couple of months, I've been learning Blender and After Effects in order to finish this, my first proper project. And although I say proper, it's actually a Razer Gamer catheter. Check it out. Anyway, I was going to share with you some of the things I'd learned from making this, like this y2k Xbox matrix in After Effects. But I couldn't because I didn't fully understand what I'd done myself, which meant, well, when I came to make the first draft of this video, it looked a little bit more like this. So I want to fix that in this series by extracting what, if anything, I've learned, by rewinding the process and reverse engineering effects like this one. So here is the mood board I used. And here is the image I used for that green glow. But how did I quickly make a complicated looking UI inspired background like this one? Well, without further ado, let's make this y2k Xbox matrix in After Effects. I began with a new comp in After Effects and brought over the design as an Illustrator file. I converted it to a shape and changed the fill color to black. I added a glow effect with the based on set to alpha and the number of loops to 3. I changed the white to this toxic kind of green color and copied the glow effect. I then pre-comped the layer and titled it Outlines. I added some slight vector blur to make it look something like this, and pasted the glow back on, but reduced the number of loops to 1. I duplicated the layer and called it fill. That's fill, not fill. Anyway, I swapped the vector blur and glow and set the type to direction fading and increased the amount. I set the blend mode to add. Now it's this combo of effects, the vector blur and the glow, that is the key to this kind of neon matrix y2k style. Now this is my cheat way to sort of recreate this y2k user interface style background. I duplicated the outlines layer and set it to continuously rasterize. I added a CC gridler effect and set the rotation to 180 degrees. I scaled it and positioned it along the bottom, duplicated it and flipped it 180 degrees and set this one along the top. I parented all my layers to this null and keyframed its scale. I added one keyframe at the beginning and one just after, and a third one at the very end. I set the first one to ease out, the second one to ease in, and scaled up the first keyframe like this. I scaled down the second keyframe to something like this, and for the last keyframe scaled it down slightly more like this. In the speed graph editor, I modified the profile to make it look something like this. I added an adjustment layer with a CC radial fast blur and CC lens effect. I increased the lens size and keyframed it at the very beginning. I added another keyframe at the very end, reducing its size, and for the CC radial fast blur, added 3 keyframes and set the middle one to a higher value. I then set the zoom type to brightest and selecting the keyframes hit F9 to easy ease and played around with the speed graph profile to look something more like this. I added another adjustment layer for the vignette, so holding down Ctrl, double clicked on the ellipse tool. I inverted the mask and pressed F to pay respects and set the feather to around 200. I then added a levels and a Gaussian blur set to around 100 pixels. I crunched the levels to something like this and swapped the order of the levels and Gaussian blur. For my final adjustment layer, I set the blend mode to overlay and added some fractal noise. I halved the contrast and keyframed the evolution from 0 at the beginning and 1 full revolution at the end. I added a CC light rays effect onto the fill layer, positioning it around here, increasing the intensity and setting the radius to around 250 at the beginning, keyframing it to zero out around here. I then added this overlay, which is available for free from my Patreon. I then pressed Ctrl Y to add this solid black background. So this is how I made this y2k Xbox matrix in After Effects. But you could always try using different colours like these ones. Or what about adding a turbulent displace on the background? Or what about playing around with this square wave? Because I would love to hear how you would use or improve this effect. You can tag me across socials at OK Ben, and share with me anything you come up with, because I would love to spotlight anything I really like in the next episode. Oh, and by the way, I really like this cyan colour combo, which is why, to sort of remember everything I've learned whilst making this video, I put together this poster, which you can download for free from my Patreon. Remember to join to suggest what you'd like to see next time. Perhaps something like this Razer Gamer catheter made in Blender,